Hi, welcome to this series on GMAT preparation. So your GMAT score is scored out of 800 and there are two main sections in it, verbal reasoning and quantitative reasoning. We'll be looking at quantitative reasoning in our series. So you'll have a total of 31 questions and you'll have 62 minutes to answer. So you have 2 minutes per question approximately, and the score is scored out of 51. It is represented as Q followed by your score, which is, and the range of the score is from Q6 to Q51. You will be scored anywhere between Q6 and Q51. And the quantitative reasoning part of GMAT exam consists of two types of questions, that is data sufficiency and problem solving. Problem solving is a standard form of questions with 5 answer choices. You have to select the one that suits the question the best. And data sufficiency is a problem which consists of one question and 2 statements are given, and your job is to check to see if the data that is given is enough to answer the question. So that is why it is called data sufficiency. If it is enough to answer the question, based on that you will have to select your options. Today we will be focusing on problem solving with our topic algebra. Algebra is one of the main topics that is tested on the GMAT exams. So let us look at some sample questions. So the question says, if x minus y is under root of 20 and x plus y is under root of 12, what is the value of x square minus y square? So we all know that x square minus y square is nothing but product of x plus y and x minus y. Now we are given the value of x minus y as root 20, so we can substitute x plus y as root 12. So this will be the product of root 12 and product of root 20. 12 is 4 root 3 and the square root of 4 we know it as 2. So this is 2 root 3, and again 20 is 4 into 5 and we know that the square root of 4 is 2. So we can take that out and we are left with root 5. So the product comes out to be 2 root 3 into 2 root 5, which is 2 into 2 4, and under root we have 3 into 5, that is 15. So that comes out to be option B. Let's look at the next question. So the question says, if 5 minus 6 by x is equal to x, then x has how many possible values? So the question says 5 minus 6 by x is equal to x. Okay, so let's take x as the LCM for the entire thing. So taking x as the LCM, we will be left with 5x minus 6 in the numerator is equal to x. Let's cross multiply and send x there. So that will be 5x minus 6 will be equal to x square. Now bring all the elements on one side. We have x square minus 5x. 5x coming this side will be minus 5x, and plus 6 is equal to 0. This is a quadratic equation and we know that there are 2 roots for the quadratic equation, but we should check that x should not be 0, because when x is 0 and here it is in the denominator, it will be undefined. Our 6 by x will be undefined. So let's just check the roots and let's make sure that 0 is not one of the roots. That is x square minus 6 is 3 into 2 minus 3x minus 2x plus 6 is equal to 0. Taking x common here and minus 2 common here, we will get x minus 3 into x minus 2 is equal to 0. So the roots are 2 and 3. Actually, if you look at the question, you do not need to solve, they are just asking how many possible values. So looking that it is a quadratic equation, we can directly say that it will have 2 roots, and so there are 2 possible values. We just wanted to check that x equal to 0 is not an answer. We could do that directly by substituting it as well. If you just substitute x is equal to 0 in this equation, this is our main solution. We will see that 0 minus 0 plus 6 is equal to 0, which is not true. So anyway 0 is not one of the roots. We do not need to do this solving, I just did it for example. So let's look at the next question. If the sum of the roots of an equation are ax square plus bx plus c is equal to 0 is 7 by 4 times the product of the roots, find the relation between b and c. Okay, so for this you must be knowing the equation, the basic quadratic equation. We have ax square plus bx plus c sum of the roots will be equal to minus b by a, and product of the roots is equal to c by a. This is our standard definitions for sum of the roots and product of the roots. Now let's look at the question. What does it say? That sum of the roots of this equation is 7 by 4 times the product of the roots. So we can write this as sum of the roots, that is minus b by a, is equal to 7 by 4 times c by a. C by a is product of the roots. So here we can cancel out a, and we can say that minus b is equals to 7 by 4 times c. They are asking us the relation between b and c. So this can also be written, multiply minus 1 on both sides of this equation, you will get b is equals to minus 7 by 4 c, which is our option number C. Option C, that is the answer. If x square minus 2x minus 15 is equal to 0 and x is greater than 0, then which of the following must be equal to 0? There are 3 different quadratic equations given here. We have to check that which of the following must be equal to 0. Okay. So now we have this quadratic equation, x square minus 2x minus 15 is 0. Let's factorize this. 15 is 3 into 5. We will have minus 5x plus 3x minus 15 is equal to 0. This is basic factorization. The numbers product should be minus 15 and the sum should come out 2x. So we choose these numbers. Now we take x common here from these two terms. We get x into x minus 5 plus taking 3 common in these two terms, you will get 3 into x minus 5 is equal to 0. You can take x minus 5 as common into x plus 3 is 0. So the roots come out to be x is either 5 if we say this is equal to 0, or x is equal to minus 3. But when you carefully look at the question, it says that x is greater than 0. So minus 3 is not greater than 0, so it is not the root. So the only solution to this quadratic equation is x is equal to 5. Now let's look at the answer of options here. You have x square minus 6x plus 9. This is nothing but x minus 3 whole square. So since x is equal to 5, this cannot be 0. It will be 5 minus 3, that is 2 square. It will come out to be 4. It is not 0. So this is not equal to 0. Let's look at the second one. Second one says x square minus 7x plus 10 is equal to 0. So this quadratic equation again factorize, you will get x square minus 5x, 10 is 5 into 2. We need the sum to be 7. So we select 5 and 2. You get x minus 5 into x minus 2 is equal to 0. So here this quadratic equation comes out to be like this, and we know that x is equal to 5. So x minus 5 will definitely be 0. So 0 into anything is again 0. So yes, this will always be equal to 0 with our given information. Now let's look at the third equation. Third equation says x square minus 10x plus 25 is equal to 0. This is nothing but x minus 5 whole square is equal to 0. So x is equal to 5, it definitely satisfies the equality, that is x minus 5 is equal to 0. So this will also definitely be 0. So we got that these two equations will definitely be equal to 0. That is option number D. Option D. 2 and 3, only these two quadratic equations will always be equal to 0. Let's look at the next question. X denotes the decimal fraction part of root 67. What is x into x plus 16? Okay, so let's look at the number that we have given. We have given root 67. Okay,
So they are talking about the decimal fraction part. So let's look, whenever you see a number, it will have an integral part and then it will have a decimal part. Let's first see integral. What will be the integral part close to? You know that 64, square root of 64 is 8. So 67 lies somewhere near that, and the next square root of 9 is 81 is 9. So the root of 67 will lie somewhere between root 64 and root 81. Root 64 is nothing but 8. Sorry, it will lie between 8 and 9, root of 67. So what we can represent this as? We can represent root 67 as 8 plus the decimal part, that is x. It is given that x denotes the decimal part of root 67. So 8 plus something. It is just like root 67 is greater than 8, greater than root 64, that is greater than 8. So it will have 8 as its integral part and x as its decimal part. Now when we square on both sides, we will get 67 is equals to 8 plus x whole square. That is 67 is equal to 8 square is 64 plus 2 into 8 into x is 16x plus x square. Taking 64 to the other side, we have 67 minus 64, that is 3 is equal to x square plus 16x. These two are left on the right hand side. So we say 3 is equals to x into x plus 16, which is what they are asking us, what is the value of x into x plus 16. So that comes out to be 3, that is option C. So here we are mainly looking at where the integral part and where the fraction part will lie. We picked two perfect squares, that is 64 and 81, so that we know where it lands, where our root 67 integral part lands. If x plus y plus z is equal to 2 and x plus 2y plus 3z is equals to 6 and y is not equal to 0, then what is the value of x by y? They are giving us two equations, two linear equations. X plus y plus z is 2 and x plus 2y plus 3z is equal to 6. Now they are just asking us what is x by y. So in these two equations, if you want to eliminate z, you want to eliminate z because you are only interested in what x by y is. So what you do first, this is a first equation, this is second equation. First equation you multiply it by 3 because here it is 3z, here it is z. If we can bring this also to 3z, we can easily subtract and solve for x and y, the relation between x and y. So the first equation I am multiplying by 3 on both sides, you get 3x plus 3y plus 3z is equals to 6. Now you also have the second equation, we will leave it as it is, x plus 2y plus 3z is equal to 6. Now I want to subtract equation number 2 from equation number 1, we will be left with 2x plus 3y minus 2y is y, 3z and minus 3z gets cancelled, and on the right hand side it is 6 minus 6, so it is 0. So we have 2x plus y is equal to 0, which can also be written as 2x is equals to minus y. Here they are asking us for what is x by y, so we can divide x by y is equals to minus 1 by 2. We took 2 to the denominator here and y to the denominator on the other side. So you have x by y is equals to minus 1 by 2, which is option A is our answer. Here we needed to eliminate z in order to find the relation between x and y. So that is why we multiplied the first equation by 3. I hope that is clear.
Let's look at the next question.
If the roots of the equation x square plus x plus 1 is equal to 0 are alpha and beta, and the roots of the equation of x square plus mx plus b is equals to 0 are alpha by beta and beta by alpha, then what is the value of m? Okay, so we are given one equation on x square plus x plus 1 is equal to 0. We are given that alpha and beta are the roots. Now we know the equation for sum of the roots. that will come out to be alpha plus beta. We know it is minus b by a in that standard equation. Here our b is plus 1, that is 1, divided by minus b by a, so that is minus b is 1 and a is also 1 here. When you do not have any number given here, you will always assume it as 1. So, you have alpha plus beta is equals to minus b by a, that is minus 1. And for product of the roots, we have c alpha, that will become alpha into beta. So, we have that as c by a, c here is again 1 divided by 1, that is 1. So, we got two equations from here, alpha plus beta is minus 1 and alpha beta is equals to plus 1. Now, what they are asking us is the roots of this equation x square plus mx plus b is alpha by beta and beta by alpha. So, we have x square plus mx plus b is equals to 0 and we are given the roots as alpha by beta and beta by alpha. So, what are they asking us? They are asking us the value of m. So, let us look at that. M is nothing but our b. So, sum of the roots, when you look at sum of the roots, do not get confused by the b written here. Our standard form is ax square plus bx plus c is equals to 0. The b that we are talking about is always the x, the number that comes with x. Sum of the roots is minus b by a, that is nothing but minus m by 1. So, what is the sum of the roots? Alpha by beta plus beta by alpha. If you take LCM as alpha beta, so when you take LCM, you will get alpha square plus beta square in the numerator. So, here you know alpha plus beta, you know alpha beta, but you do not know alpha square plus beta square. So, let us try solving it from there. When you square this thing, this equation on both sides, you will get alpha plus beta whole square is equals to minus 1 whole square. So, this is nothing but alpha square plus beta square plus 2 alpha beta is equals to 1. We know that alpha beta is again 1, we can substitute here. So, we will say alpha square plus beta square plus 2 into 1 is equals to 1. Taking this to the right hand side, you will have alpha square plus beta square is 1 minus 2, that is minus 1. So, here now you can substitute that into this equation. Here the sum of the roots is alpha square plus beta square, that is minus 1 divided by alpha beta, that is alpha beta we know it as 1, that comes out to be minus 1. The value of minus m, here minus m is equals to minus 1. That means that m is equals to 1, that is option B. I hope that is clear. Initially, we looked at the first equation given and we found the sum of the roots and product of the roots using the standard method. Then we squared, then we look at what we require m, that is sum of the roots. So, when we check the sum of the roots here, it comes out to be alpha square plus beta square. For that, we squared alpha plus beta whole square and substituted the alpha beta value and we got this as our alpha square plus beta square and we divided by alpha beta, that is from the first equation, the product of the roots, that is 1.
Let us look at the next question.
H of x is equals to 2x minus 1 and g of x is equal to x square minus 3. If g of m is 61, what is h of m if m is greater than 0? So, when you look at this question, it is saying that g of m is 61. What is g of m? G of m is nothing but m square minus 3. Yes, and it is given as 61. So, we can say that m square taking 3 to the other side is 61 plus 3 is equal to 64. So, m is square root of 64, which is either 8 or minus 8. But our question tells us that m is greater than 0. So, this cannot be a value, it is only 8, m comes out to be 8. So, they are telling us to calculate what is h of m, that means h of 8, m is nothing but 8. Substitute it in this equation here, you have 2 into 8 minus 1, which is 16 minus 1, that is equal to 15. That is option number D.
So those were some questions on algebra. Hope they were clear. Thanks for watching.